Good evening. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is the Marion City Council meeting for Thursday, March 5th, 2020. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. And we have the roll call, please.
Ms. Atkins, Mr. Jensen.
Here.
Mayor Abu-Osley.
Here.
Mr. Brandt.
Here.
Ms. Gedalia. Here. Mr. Sternad.
Present.
Thank you. First on our agenda, we have a moment of silence. Thank you. We have a proclamation as the first item on our agenda for Census Awareness Month, and I've asked Councilmember Renee Gedalia to present that. We have a very special person here to accept the proclamation, our communications manager, Amber Bissinger. She has a big speech prepared.
You're here.
Whereas the census conducted once every 10 years counts every living person in the United States, whereas this count determines the number of seats Iowa gets in Congress and helps allocate billions of dollars in federal funding for roads, health care, low-income programs, and much more, whereas Iowa received approximately $8 billion through 55 federal programs in fiscal year 2016 as a result of data collected during the 2010 census, whereas this month, every household in America will receive a letter in the mail with information on how to respond to the census by phone, mail, or online, whereas representatives from the City of Marion, Lynn County, Cedar Rapids, and community partners have comprised a complete count committee to help encourage participation and raise awareness for the 2020 census, whereas all Iowa residents of every background, whether they live in Marion, Lynn County, or beyond, are encouraged to represent Iowa by responding to the 2020 census and counting every person living in their household as of April 1st, 2020. Now, therefore, I, Renee Gedalia, on behalf of Nicholas Abu-Osley, Mayor of the City of Marion, Iowa, do I proclaim the month of March 2020 as Census Awareness Month and encourage all of our citizens to do their part in representing Iowa and responding to the 2020 census. There you go. Would you like to make a speech?
No, I don't need to.
We can take a picture.
Oh, okay.
You're trying to get in it or out of it?
Thank you. Obviously, we encourage all Marion residents to participate in the census to help us get a complete and accurate count of our current population, as it does affect a lot of things. Thank you. Okay, at this time we have a public forum, which is time that is on our agenda set aside for comments from members of the public on any item that is on the agenda but not part of a public hearing. Matters that are part of a public hearing will have their own time for public comment. So if there's anything that anyone would like to address the council on that is on the agenda but not associated with a public hearing, this would be the time to come forward. Okay, seeing no one is coming forward, we will move on to the consent agenda. Mr. Brandt.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as follows. That'd be items A1 through F3, resolutions 28286 through 28307.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented, including items A1 through F3 with resolutions 28286 through 28307. Discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. For the next item, I will turn over the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, sorry, I was looking for something. Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve the consent agenda with Mayor Aboasley's abstention from voting and discussion as follows. These include items E1 through F1, Resolution 28308 through 28312.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with Mayor Aboasley's abstention. Is there any discussion on any of these items? Not all those in favor of the consent agenda as presented, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion passes.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 20-01, amending Chapter 122 of the Code of Ordinances relating to solicitors, peddlers, and transient merchants. This will be for final consideration.
Second?
It has been moved by Councilmember Sternad, seconded by Councilmember Brandt, to approve ordinance number 20-01, amending Chapter 122 of the Code of Ordinances relating to solicitors, peddlers, and transient merchants. This is the final consideration. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve ordinance number 20-01, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 20-02, amending Chapter 7.05 of the Code of Ordinances relating to operating budget preparation. This is the final consideration.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the final consideration of ordinance number 20-02, amending Chapter 70.05 of the Code of Ordinances relating to operating budget preparation. Discussion? All those in favor of approving ordinance number 20-02, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 28313, approving collective bargaining agreement between the City of Marion and Local 231 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees for the period of July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28313, approving the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Marion and Local 231 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees for the period July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 28313 say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 28314, approving collective bargaining agreement between the City of Marion and Marion Police Protective Association for the period of July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28314, approving the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Marion and the Marion Police Protective Association for the period July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Discussion. All those in favor of resolution number 28314, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved. At this time, we have a public hearing on a proposal to enter into a general obligation loan agreement for essential corporate purposes and to borrow money thereunder in a principal amount not to exceed $14,350,000. The public hearing is now open. We have a brief recap presentation on it. Our City Finance Director.
If I may, I'm going to do a really quick brief of the overview of all of the bonds and then that
Okay, so
particular
that would
public
be
hearing.
items 5, 6, and 7 for people who are following the agenda. Okay.
This is for General Obligation Bond Series 2020A and 2020B. And in summary, 2020A has an estimated par value of $8.455 million with a maturity of June 1st, 2038. This is new money to be supported by the debt service levy. And then there's Series 2020B with an estimated par value of $10.865 million with a maturity of June 1st, 2029. This is a refunding of 2012A, 2012B, 2014A, and 2014B, which is supported by the debt service levy and tax increment finance with an estimated present value savings of $486,508.85. And then for the benefit of the public, our outstanding GO debt at the City of Marion right now for fiscal year 2020 is $144,053,52.
Wait, let's rephrase that. That's the limit.
The
right?
limit.
Yes.
That is the limit. That's
that-
the statutory limit.
Okay.
Our current GO debt outstanding is $61,630,000. With all of this new issuance money, and you can see the math there, the 8.455, the 10.865, calling 2012A, 2012B, 2014A, and 2014B reduces it by $11,935,000, and then our June 1st, 2020 principal payment will knock off another $2,760,000 with an estimated year-end GO debt outstanding at $66,255,000. And just a note that these numbers do not include Series 2019B because that one is subject to annual appropriation. And then the three public hearings are split out by type. So there's essential, is the first one. So I have a slide for each one.
Go ahead.
So the first public hearings for essential corporate purposes in an amount not to exceed $14,350,000. This is for the refunding series, which I've already stated several times. And then there's also a new battalion fire chief vehicle, a new medic vehicle for the fire station, Central Corridor 6th Avenue, 19th to 27th Street, Irish Drive extension, and the Irish Drive Tower Terrace traffic signal. You want me to go ahead and go through all three? The second public...
I thought that's what you wanted to do.
Yep.
Okay.
The second public hearing will be for the general corporate purpose in an amount not to exceed $35,000. This is for Fire Station 2 exterior repairs. And then the third public hearing is for the urban renewal related purposes in an amount not to exceed $6.8 million, and this is for the fire station.
Okay. At this time, we will proceed with the public hearing on item number 5, which is the proposal to enter into a general obligation loan agreement in the principal amount not to exceed $14,350,000. If there's anyone here to address the council, either in favor or in opposition to this measure, please come forward. Okay. Seeing that no one is coming forward, we'll ask if any of the staff have received any comments on this from the public outside of this meeting.
My office has not.
Okay, we'll note that for the record, that no comments have been received. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing. We'll move on to the next public hearing, which is on the proposal to enter into a general obligation loan agreement for general corporate purposes in an amount not to exceed $35,000. This is for the repairs on Fire Station number 2. If there's anyone here to address the council on this item, whether in favor or in opposition, please come forward. Okay, again, we'll ask the staff if any comments have been received outside this meeting.
We have not received any.
Okay, please note that for the record. We'll close the public hearing. And our final public hearing is on the proposal to enter into a general obligation loan agreement for urban renewal related purposes in a principal amount not to exceed $6,800,000. This is in connection with the fire station project. If there's anyone here to address the council on this item in favor or against, please come forward. Okay, and we'll ask the same question. Any comments received outside this meeting?
Nope.
Okay. We'll note for the record again that no comments were received from the public, and we'll close the public hearing. Mr. Sternad.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I would make a motion, I move to approve resolution number 28315, taking additional action on proposals to enter into certain general obligation loan agreements providing for the combinations of certain general obligation loan agreements, setting a date for the sale of general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2020A, approving a preliminary official statement for use in connection therein, and providing the levy of taxes to pay the same.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28315, taking additional action on proposals to enter into certain general obligation loan agreements, providing for the combinations of certain general obligation loan agreements, setting a date for the sale of general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2020A, approving a preliminary official statement for use in connection therewith, and providing for the levy of taxes to pay the same. Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 28315, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. Mr. Jensen?
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 28316, setting a date for the sale of general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2020B, and approving a preliminary official statement for use in connection therewith.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28316, setting a date for the sale of general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2020B, and approving the preliminary official statement for use in connection therewith. Discussion. All those in favor of approving resolution number 28316, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved. For these next three items, I will turn over the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve resolution number 28317, approving a road use tax revenue loan agreement and authorizing the issuance of a $5,400,000 road use tax revenue note.
Second?
Okay, the motion has been moved and seconded for resolution number 28317, approving a road use tax revenue loan agreement and authorizing the issuance of a $5,400,000 road use tax revenue note. Should we have a brief explanation on this one and the next? I think the next two are also linked together. So the explanation here will be for items number 10, 11, and 12.
This is the funding for the Public Services Maintenance Facility. Total amount is $10,800,000. 50% will be supported by road use tax in the amount of $5.4 million. 25% it will be supported by sanitary sewer in the amount of $2,700,000, and 25% supported by solid waste in the amount of $2,700,000. These were the terms we went over on Tuesday. I did want to say I think the proposed closing date I shared on Tuesday was March 10th. I think that would be pushing it, and with the spring break in there as well, that would be pushing it. So we're really looking at late March.
Okay.
The term sheet had shared through March 27th, I believe. 10-year, amortized for 20 years, 2.43% rate, monthly principal and interest payments. I did share about the loan covenant. I've put in front of each of the city council members the numbers you had asked for. I did want to make some comments about them. I'm not going to try and put them up on the prompter because I don't feel like they'd be able to see all of them. Just wanted to make city council aware that the bold number on net revenues is the amount that we're looking at, and the red line number under it is the amount that we're trying to target. So on the road use one, if you're following, we're still reviewing the budget. We think there's an error in the budget right now that we're just working through that, because the trend, if you can see it, there's just something off that staff is working on and we will have figured out. Remember, on road use fund, we can't raise the fees. The fees that we get from the state are just set in stone. So the covenant there is really on excess debt. You can't take on any excess debt unless you're reaching that 125% in the road use fund.
Okay, so on the sanitary sewer, explain, let's take the budget column for fiscal year 2021. So we've got a bold number of net revenues of $244,215, but the target number is $213,926, but we're supposed to have a covenant of 125% of net revenue. So how do we arrive at the $213,926?
The $213,926 is the amount required for the sinking fund So it's that 171, 141, which is the amount of payments, times 125%. That's
Okay,
where I
so
get
it's
the
a sinking
213.
fund transfer,
Correct.
125%
It's the amount
of
of the
that.
payment.
Okay, but this is saying 125% of net revenue.
Yeah, it's worded funny.
Okay, so that wording doesn't quite match up
Correct.
with what is on the sheet. We need to be looking at the sinking fund transfer number.
Yes.
So does that need to be modified in the loan agreements?
I don't believe so. I believe it's correct.
Okay.
On the sanitary sewer fund, just as you're looking at it, this will require, or looking at the budget, just as a reminder, the budget does include a 30-cent rate increase and an increase in the O&M agreement on the expense side of $780,000. So that's just a reminder. And then on the solid waste one, I wanted to point out this is a change in accounting for the revenues in the fiscal year, for the rest of fiscal year 2020 and for fiscal year 2021. In the past, we've always booked 85% of the revenue to solid waste and 15% of the revenue to solid waste replacement. We will now be booking all of the revenue in solid waste so that we can show kind of that priority of payment.
Okay.
And it does, the budget on that column does include a $2 per month increase, and it shows no longer, like I said, no longer putting revenue into the replacement fund. So if you look at that one and you see that it looks really comfortable, that would be why.
So these are the covenants the bank will be looking at the beginning of the year when we propose our budget, and then certainly at the end of the year when we have
Correct.
actual numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any questions about the presentation? Okay. All right, so we've got a motion to approve resolution number 28317. This has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes with one abstention.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 28318, approving a sewer revenue loan agreement and authorizing the issuance of a $2,700,000 sewer revenue note.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28318, approving a sewer revenue loan agreement and authorizing the issuance of a $2.7 million sewer revenue note. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving resolution number 28318, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Motion passes with one abstention.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve resolution number 28319, approving a solid waste revenue loan agreement and authorizing the issuance of $2,700,000 solid waste revenue note.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28319, approving a solid waste revenue loan agreement and authorizing the issuance of a $2.7 million solid waste revenue note. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving resolution number 28319, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Resolution number 28319 passes with one abstention. And I'll pass the gavel back to the mayor. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 28320, approving contract amendment for the city manager effective January 1st, 2020.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28320, approving the contract amendment with the city manager effective January 1st, 2020. Discussion? All those in favor of resolution 28320, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 28321, approving payment to Technical Specialty Systems regarding Fire Station number 2 brick repair in the amount of $32,318.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28321, approving the payment of Technical Specialty Systems regarding Fire Station number 2 brick repair in the amount of $32,318. Discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 28321, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved. At this time, we have another public hearing regarding Seymour Trail Phase 3 project from Marion Boulevard Bridge over Indian Creek North to preservation of Trail Bridge over Indian Creek Bridge. We'll open the public hearing, and who will recap that for us? Is that Mr. Barcalow?
Yep, I'm just trying to get my Outlook to work. Having planning difficulties.
Mom can help you.
Yeah. Okay, for the Seymour Trail, this is reconstructing the existing bridge that goes over Indian Creek and then paving the existing limestone trail that goes then down the embankment under the trail to the Marion Boulevard Bridge. The bridge will have a railroad theme, so the image I'm about to show you is the early concept that has been since changed, but gives you a general idea. So this is the railroad themed. It will not have these two overlooks because it's 14 foot wide, and that was a large cost to do that and cut the girders. So rather than do that, we actually took that portion out because it's wide enough. The rest of it is intact, so you can see it. It has the Milwaukee Road. It has signs that say Chicago one way. So then we get into some of the engineering drawings so that you can see what it looks like. So it still has that railroad feel when you go underneath it. It has, I don't know if I zoom in if you can see that better. So it has details on the railings that show the actual wheels on it. And then actually has San Francisco and Chicago listed with arrows to give direction. So very much has a railroad theme to give you a little context with it. The DOT did receive 4 bids. The low bid came from PCI at $1,684,653.66. That was 100.27% of the engineer's estimate. Work shall commence no later than July 13th of 2020 and be completed within 150 working days. There are liquidated damages in the amount of $1,500 per day for every day in excess of those days. And staff is recommending moving forward. With the DOT, as we discussed on Tuesday, they now do electronic contracts, and so the city manager will be getting set up. As part of the resolution, the city council is authorizing the city manager to sign the contract in lieu of the mayor or mayor pro temp to electronically sign the document. But there'll still be a resolution that you guys are approving.
Okay, is there anyone here to address the council on this matter, either in favor or in opposition? Please come forward. Okay, we'll ask the staff if any comments have been received outside the meeting.
None by my office.
And none by mine.
Okay, please note that for the record, and the public hearing is now closed. I am going to turn over the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem for the vote on this.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 28322, accepting bids and awarding contract to Peterson Contractors, Inc. regarding the Seymour Phase 3 project in the city of Marion from Marion Boulevard Bridge over Indian Creek North to preservation of Trail Bridge over Indian Creek Bridge new steel girder in the amount of $1,684,653.66.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28322, accepting bids and awarding contract to Peterson Contractors regarding the Seymour Phase 3 project in the city of Marion, from Marion Boulevard Bridge over Indian Creek North to the preservation of Trail Bridge over Indian Creek Bridge and New Steel Girder in the amount of $1,684,653.66. As far as, this is going to be obviously a very major project for the city on our key road. So can you tell us a little bit about how this is going to be publicized, communicated to everybody on how traffic will be handled?
So this is the one that goes over the trail, so this actually won't
Oh,
have
sorry,
road
not
impacts.
the one over the trail. All right, my mistake. No impact on the traffic.
Other than the trail traffic and the parks
Got
department
it.
traffic.
I'm thinking the wrong bridge. My mistake. All right. Any further discussion on this item? Okay, so it's been moved and seconded for resolution 28322. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Resolution 28322 is approved with one abstention.
Mr. Barkle, just for information's sake, for the public, would you clarify or just remind us what portion of this funding is coming from the DOT and from MPO dollars?
Sure, so this is, Seymour Trail was broken into 5 separate phases, so this is actually phase 3. 80% of those funds are coming from the Corridor Metropolitan Planning Organization through road use tax. The 20% is actually coming from the city, so this is mainly paid for out of outside funds.
Okay. Okay, then moving on to number 3, Mr. Sternad.
Yes, Your Honor. I move to make a motion to approve project calendar regarding the 2020 sanitary CIPP rehabilitation project. This will be resolutions 28323 through 28325.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the project calendar for the 2020 sanitary CIPP rehabilitation project, including resolutions 28323 through 28325. Discussion.
Would you like a staff report?
Yes, please go ahead, and also tell us what CIPP for everyone on everyone's purposes.
Sure, so this is basically our pipeliner that we put inside of our sanitary sewer so that it prevents the groundwater from coming into the sewer that we then send to Cedar Rapids and pay them to clean water. So CIPP is cured in place pipe. So this involves 6, 8, and 10-inch diameter pipe. The engineer's estimate is $157,577. Sealed bids will be received on March 31st of 2020, with proposed council consideration of award on April 7th, 2020. Work shall be completed no later than October 30th of 2020, and there are liquidated damages in the amount of $300 per day.
So this is different from slip lining?
It's the same thing.
Same
We
thing.
just- The slip lining, this is now the more engineering word for it.
Okay.
Same thing.
Well, that's what I thought, but
Yep.
this is the first time you've used CIPP.
Yeah, so they've taken away slip lining and they want CIPP now.
Okay.
I love our acronyms.
Yes. Lots of acronyms in government. That's the one thing I've learned. Okay. Any discussion on this item? Yes, sir.
I
Mr.
think, is it fair to say, Mike, that when we're doing the slip lining or CIPP, that typically takes place in the older sections of town?
Generally, I mean, our new sewer is air tested and mandrel tested. These are typically the old clay lines that might have a joint every 2 to 3 feet.
Yeah.
And so it's just helping to prevent that infiltration.
Okay.
So we target with public service on which areas are we having issues with. And I can tell you, since we've started this program, even with the large rain events that we've had, they tend to have to pump less for that overflow.
Other questions? Discussion? Okay, if not, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion to approve the project calendar for the 2020 sanitary CIPP rehabilitation project, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project calendar regarding the 2020 Safe Routes to School project. This will include resolution numbers 28326 through 28328.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the project calendar for the 2020 Safe Routes to School project, including resolutions 28326 through 28328. You have something to present on this?
I do.
Proceed.
So this was some grant funding that Kesha with the planning department was able to secure. And so basically it's connecting between 14th and 15th, putting a rapid flashing beacon on 15th. Eventually this will continue south to the schools and go down east to try and have an interconnection as part of the Safe Routes to School plan. So this is completely grant funded, and it was just staff time put into this. So we may come back with a change order depending on what we get for unit prices to build as much of that as possible with the grant money so that we can use all the grant money that was provided. And then I know that she's also looking at other grant opportunities as well. So it is reconstructing the intersection of 14th and 4th so that it meets ADA standards as far as the crosswalk. And we've put in the rapid flashing beacons before in other projects. So this has an engineer's estimate of $135,000. Sealed bids will be received on March 31st of 2020 with consideration of award on April 7th of 2020. Work shall begin no later than July 6th and be completed within 40 working days. And there are liquidated damages in the amount of $300 per day.
Is this the grant funding that we were trying to use to leverage a larger grant?
Yep, and we didn't get that large.
We didn't
grant.
get that, so
Right.
we're going ahead and using it. Okay.
Yep. And there was some issue with title as well, but we got that fixed with legal.
And the additional grants we're looking for, those are for other
To
aspects of this plan?
To extend this so that
Yep.
we can get it to the other schools.
Okay.
But at least this way we can get them a safer place to cross 15th.
Yeah, thank you. I know that's a priority.
Yep.
Mr. Brandt?
The engineer's estimate's $135,000. What was the grant amount, total amount for this?
I think it was a little bit more than that, and like I said, once we actually get the unit prices, if there's a little bit, we will use every dollar of the grant.
Sure,
so
sure.
Once we actually get the bids, what we can do is do a change order based on the unit prices that we get in that bid and extend it so that we're using every dollar of that grant.
Was it in the 150,000 range, something like that?
That could be about right, yeah.
Okay. Other discussion or questions? All those in favor of the motion to approve the project calendar for the 2020 Safe Routes to School project, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I make a motion to receive, file, and concur with TAC report regarding a request from the Marion Independent School District.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive, file, and concur with the Traffic Advisory Committee report regarding a request from the Marion Independent School District. I know that, did you say that somebody from the school district would like to address the council on this?
Yeah, particularly on the 14th changing of the parking. So I don't
Is
know
there
if you want
anyone
me to
here?
go through each item or if you just want to discuss that item tonight, or I know there's just some concern about that item in particular on Tuesday.
Well, I think if you recap,
I can recap it all, and then if they want to.
and then we can have somebody, if they want to address the council, they can. Yeah, let's do that.
So the items in the TAC memo are not necessarily in the same order as the original request from the school district. We actually changed them so they were in order of prioritization. So the first thing was getting the kids across 6th Avenue, since the stop signs have come out, since we've extended that road. So the short-term solution is what I have up on the projector, adding the school crossing assemblies and the state law when in the crosswalk, similar to what we have on 7th Avenue. That's the short-term solution. The long-term solution, when we get 7th Avenue reconstructed, they would actually come down 15th Street, use the roundabout. It's just right now, in order to get across 7th, they need to use a signal, and so then they continue south. So they're not going to use the signal and then go east and go to the roundabout and then come back. That's just not realistic. So So this is the short-term solution until 7th Avenue gets built out more. The next issue was the intersection of 5th and 12th and requesting to have that area painted. In lieu of that, because that's not a four-way stop and there's quite a bit of traffic there, we do have a three-way stop at the intersection. You can't see my mouse. Instead, use the intersection of 13th where we do have a three-way stop, and then we already have the crosswalks painted. So push the kids to use that crossing instead. Public Service goes out there twice a year and repaints those, so it's just part of their annual program to get those repainted. Another concern was dropping off kids and picking kids up. A lot of times they use our parking lot. Sometimes they do the roll stop, kick the kid out, and drop them off at school. What they would eventually like to do is get 4th Avenue, so everyone's using 4th Avenue and dropping them off. So it won't be signed as a one-way, but they will try and train the parents to drop the kids off that way. Eventually, now that we've cleared up the railroad issue here, they may be able to do the same thing in this area and actually purchase some of that property or do a quiet title on it. And then they could potentially own all of 4th Avenue, and then they can make it a one-way. But I know previous councils have not been in favor of having one-way streets. The next is regarding speed feedback signs. So there are national studies that have said that they are effective when you put them up. No studies to determine how long they're effective. We have done a small trial in the city of Marion where we actually put our traffic classifiers out to measure speeds and number of vehicles. 1 week, the following week we put out the police speed camera or the speed trailer, and then took the speed trailer away with the classifier still out there and actually saw no change in speed. So we'll do a similar thing on South 15th where they feel there's a speeding issue to see if it does have an effect before that money is spent to install something that may not work. There might be better alternatives out there. Or just writing tickets is always a good way to do it as well. The next one are all kind of all related, and this is where the school want to step in and talk a little bit. Obviously, there's a lot of conflict points on South 15th, so the goal would be to move the parking on 14th so that all the kids' parents are lined up on 14th, drop them off. The issue with that is no parking currently is on the west side of the road, so they would need to move it to the other side of the road, which actually takes some parking away. Because of the parking on the east side, there's very few driveways. The fire hydrants are on the west side, so there's just a lot more parking on the east side. So by pushing it to the west side, you're effectively taking parking away, and I think that was some of the issue that Councilman Brandt had on Tuesday. With that then, also looking at the intersection of C and 14th and adding a four-way stop control instead of just a two-way stop control. The last item, as this building has been repurposed, there's already signage and a painted crosswalk out there. Their request was actually to put a rapid flashing beacon so that the people that park in this parking lot have a safer way to get across. Because this is so close to the intersection, that rapid flashing beacon would have to be moved over here. The traffic volumes and the amount of people crossing just don't warrant the rapid flashing beacons at this time. It's already signed, and so we felt just leaving it how it is unless there's future issues, then we can reevaluate it. So I'll go back to the parking issue if the school district would like to come up and...
Is there anyone here to address the... Okay. All right, we'll ask you to state your name and your address, and also fill out a card where there's a card down there. You can do that afterwards if you'd like.
So my name is Bob Scott, Director of Operations for the Marion School District. I've been asked to put together just a quick synopsis of transportation view of moving the parent pickup and drop off from 15th over to 14th. So I'm going to talk very quickly and get out of your way. So What I did is kind of looked at what we had put together before. The 2016 survey on 15th Street between Grand Avenue and A Avenue had approximately 2,100 to 2,200 vehicles traveling up and down through there during parent pickup and parent drop-off for the high school and for the elementary building. Starry currently has this year, as of this year, 167 car riders, bicycle riders, or walkers. Currently, we're guessing approximately 50 to 60 of them are car riders, and at least 20 to 25 of the parents pick up. They park across in the high school parking lot right now, and they walk across in that crosswalk and stuff. Today, when I was doing my observation, which I do once every month at that intersection or at that location, 2 vehicles actually parked up in the grass, pulled up into the grass there, and got out, went up and got their parents and came back out. So just to give you a synopsis or an overview or a quick view of what I observed today. So parent loop that we have at Starry Elementary School, and I didn't do a presentation or put anything together, is a very tight 2-lane, homemade, kind of with 2 curves, loop there. So the cars line up there. When they get to full, they start lining up single onto 15th Street. Today I observed approximately 5 or 6 cars lined up there. That, with the tight corners and everything, it's just kind of dangerous and kind of very close for students and everything, and for cars to try to get around those corners and get out of the way when they do pick up their students. Parents crossing 15th Street today, both ways and everything, were using the flashing lights, some were not. Some were just walking across without even looking up or looking side to side or anything. They were just walking across the road with their children. Vehicles driving around parents that were waiting out in the road on 15th. Some of them were slowing down, some of them were not. And at the same time, we also had students that were still leaving the high school coming out as traffic was going both ways. And keep in mind that the traffic on 15th was already backed up coming into Starry. So they were coming out. Some of them were coming pretty fast. They're high school drivers. So some were coming out, not looking at the traffic that was coming at them from the opposite direction, and basically was coming in or going around the traffic and just keep going. So that's the parking on 14th Street that was addressed. I think you had brought it up and everything. We had checked, and all those cars that were parked there are staff parking. We have plenty of room in the parking lot on the front side of the Starry that we could move those vehicles over and put them there and get them out of the way. So that's what I have. Any questions? Concerns?
So do you have a concern about moving the parking from one side of the street to the other?
No, I do not.
Oh, okay. You don't.
No.
They're the ones that are requesting it.
Okay.
So your request to do that is to put teachers' cars parked on 14th Street? Is that what I'm understanding?
Can I address that?
Please state your name and address.
Janelle Brower, and I'm the superintendent for the Marion School District. The reason for the change in parking is to allow for one-directional traffic flow during drop-off and dismissal.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So that we don't have parents trying to pick up on both sides and potentially having students crossing a lane of traffic during drop-off dismissal. So if we have one-direction traffic flow, allowing the adults to pick up on the school side. Right now, the side closest to the school is where the one-way parking is, or the parking is. So if the parking were moved to the other side, it allows the car traffic then to be on that side of the street, and eases that burden or concern of students crossing traffic. The staff parking issue and why we feel like that would help alleviate some of the parking concern. Right now, we have several staff members who park on that side of Starry, on the street side rather than in the parking lot. But we could accommodate them in the parking lot, close that side off so that we're not blocking spots with staff parking that could otherwise be used for homeowners. So we would help alleviate the burden of parking on the street to help accommodate for some of those lost parking spots and shifting sides with driveways and things of that nature.
So your specific request is more about 14th Street, not about 15th.
Yeah, the concern we're trying to alleviate is the heavy traffic on 15th, but the request is addressing 14th Street, yes.
Well, just out of curiosity, one note I wrote down is what is the dismissal times of Starry and the high school? Because it makes it sound like you've got them kind of coming out at the same time where pickup at Starry is similar to the high school kids leaving. I mean, is
we try and
there a
avoid
gap
that.
there that can be staggered?
Right now, they are staggered. The high school dismisses at 3 o'clock, Starry dismisses at 3:30.
Oh, okay.
What happens is because of the number of people we have who pick up, they arrive quite early, so we end up with the line of cars at the same time as high school dismissal, and a few stragglers from high school who may be checking in with a teacher or things like that that are still leaving at the time of dismissal. They're not the same time. We try and stagger it.
And I think technically there's no parking on 15th Street anyway, isn't there?
Correct.
So, but yeah, I used to pick a granddaughter up there, so I know the drop-off and the pickup and how all of that has occurred. But you still see quite a number of cars parked on 15th Street for pickup, even though, they're not supposed to, but it happens all the time. It's a necessity, unfortunately. Okay.
Other questions while there's at the podium? Okay. Oh, yes, go ahead.
So I guess I'm confused. So right now on the west side of 14th is no parking.
So you can park on the east side currently.
Right. On the side where the school is at.
Correct.
Right.
And you're wanting which is where everyone parks right now to pick up their kids is on the east side, which is where the school is. But you want to move the parking to the other side on the west side? And then wouldn't that make all the kids have to cross the traffic then?
So, if I could, basically, if there's a resident parked on the east side of the road, they're messing with the traffic pattern of the parents coming. So by making that no parking, and they're essentially they're not parking on the east side, they're sitting in their car, letting it run, waiting to pick up their kid.
Right.
But if there's a resident that's parked on the east side where it's legal to park, then they have to go around that car. So by moving all the parking to the west side, that makes the east side a steady flow. That's what they're trying to accomplish.
All the years of picking up 3 kids at Starry, I always picked up in the back until the last couple years when Sierra was at Starry. I never saw any issues with that. With residents parking on the east side next to the school, it was all parents, yes, parked there and waited for their kids down next to the playground. And that's where I always park too. And so I guess what concerns me is that now all the kids are going to have to cross the traffic. Where before, when you were parked on the east side, you just got in the car, you didn't have to cross traffic at all. So I guess I'm just concerned.
No, I think
That's what they're trying to
you're
avoid.
confused.
Right.
Not if you make no parking on the east side.
Well, they're still going to use it for drop-off and pickup.
Yeah, it's basically going to become the
There's
east
gonna
side
be no
will
parking
become a
on either
loading zone, but they can't park their vehicle and get out.
There's no parking on either side then.
Right now, you can park on the east side.
But I mean, the way to do that, I would say, would be no parking on either side then. Because then people are going to be parking on the west side.
You could, but I think what they're trying to do is the residents out there that may not have a 3-stall garage but may have 3 vehicles, they want somewhere to park. So you need to let the citizens park somewhere. So by moving the parking to the west side, it's limited parking because of the fire hydrants and all the driveways, but it's giving a place for those people that have too many vehicles and not enough places to park.
Okay. So let's finish questions and comments, since this is really an unusual way, it's not part of our normal way of doing things. So let's finish comments or questions for the representatives of the district, and then we can have our discussion among ourselves here. So any further questions for them? Anything to add?
You want her to explain?
Please state your name and address.
Annette Meyer, I'm the principal at Starry Elementary. So just to kind of explain, our current drop-off and pickup is on 15th Street at the front of the building. The goal with the Safe Routes recommendation would be to move that to 14th to help alleviate traffic off of 15th. But in order to do that, we would want people picking up and dropping off closest to the building. So we would want traffic directed north so that they would be on that east side of the road, which is where people are currently parked. If we want all of our pickup and drop off on 14th, we need those cars out of the way so traffic can keep flowing, because all of our pickup and drop off would be on that side. So what Mr. Brandt was referring to is it used to be that some people would kind of come and go from that west side of the building, but I have since moved it all to the front just because we had kids coming and going from all kinds of doors, and it's just easier to go out one. So the hope would be that if we can get those cars moved over, we can then do a one direction. There's no cars in the way. We're not trying to weave in and out, but all of the kids would be loading into the passenger side of their vehicle because it would be facing the car because they're going north. So there would be nobody crossing the street would be the goal.
Sure. So from what you're saying, you're wanting the traffic to continually go, and you're hoping that parents are not going to park on the west side and wait for their kid. You're going to hope that they get in line and do a continuous flow.
That is the proposal that Safe Routes gave. Yep.
Or get in a line on 14th Street.
Yep.
Right, but then you will get parents that are going to park over there and wait. See it at Vernon or at FMI every morning. There's parents there 30 minutes before to drop off their kids, and they're already there with their kids waiting to drop their kids off 30 minutes early. It's going to be the same type of thing.
Yeah.
People are going to show up early and sit there
Yeah.
on the west side.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying that's the Safe Routes proposal. So that's
Right,
kind of the
right.
suggestion is we can't do a flow on 14th if there's cars on that east side. So if we even want to move forward with that type of proposal, those cars have to be moved to the other side. And I'm not saying there won't be difficulties in that. I'm just trying to explain the routes piece.
What you just explained made me understand more what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect.
So the goal is to get traffic on 14th Street, to remove or eliminate the traffic on 15th Street because of the safe routes and the walking.
The suggestion from
crossing
Safe
of the
Routes
street.
to
Right.
try and alleviate 15th was to shift our drop-off and dismissal of 14th.
Gotcha.
So.
Yep.
Okay, any further questions for the school district?
So we're not approving anything tonight. There'll be a resolution, there'll be notices.
Thank you.
Everything
Thank
will
you.
go out.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Randy's got it.
Okay, so Mr. Sternad.
I'm sorry that we're going to bring it back up here I just had a
Yeah, so we can have our conversation.
Sure, just two quick questions. One is, do you know the width if the pending pickup drop-off on the east side plus parking on the west side, how much room does that give us in between for two-lane traffic?
That's where we'll have to get more into the details, and that's where we'll invite the public and have all that discussion.
Okay, so you're going to collect that.
Yep.
The second thing is I hate specific times, but was there any discussion about no parking from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. so that we're not eliminating parking on that east side 24 hours a day for a critical 2-hour period?
That was not looked at, but that could be an option.
Just a question on my part is all I'm looking for, so, okay.
That's actually a good suggestion.
Or even during the drop-off and pickup times.
Yep.
Yeah, not even so they could park there during the middle of the day.
Well, you got to be careful because of early dismissals.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, yeah, that's right, early dismissals. Okay, can you put that all on one sign? Except in the days.
No parking
yeah.
during school
You can put it all on one post.
We have
'cause we've done
electronic
it.
sign, no parking today. No parking today from, just kidding. Not easy. Understand.
Okay, yes, Mr. Brandt.
Could you go back to Vernon, the picture of Vernon 4th Avenue? They said that past councils didn't want to do one way. I will say that I think it's a good idea to make that a one-way, and I would be in favor of making that a one-way.
So the discussions that we had with the schools, they actually have purchased this section
Right.
of the
Right.
right-of-way, or we donated it to them, I don't remember exactly. So if they figured this out, so you can see here they had to do the parking lot off and then add parking here. You can see here, because they own the street, they can actually have the parking. So they may want to add more parking stalls or add onto that parking lot. if the school owns all of Fourth Avenue, the problem is this house right here and maybe this property here, but then they can sign it as one way and do whatever they want because it becomes a private street.
Sure. Well, I would just say that I'd be in favor of making that a one-way if it wasn't all private. If it was still a city, half of it was city street. I don't know if anyone else would be or not, but I'll put it out there.
I would, yeah, I understand. I mean, again, I'm like you. I have granddaughters there, and I'll have granddaughters there for the next several years that I'll pick up and drop off. But, until such time that we know what the school district really is planning to do with all of the land that they own to accommodate more parking. I mean, that's the biggest problem I see is some of the other schools, FMI has a parking lot where kids, their parents can come in, and there's extra parking there where they can get off the street. They're in a parking lot. So if there's something the school wants to propose in the future to accommodate some of that, somehow I might think more about it, but I'm not sure I would at the present time.
And that's, okay, sorry, is that right?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'd say that's kind of also what my thinking was. So if the school says, yes, if we were to purchase that, we would love to make that one way, and I would say,
Different
okay,
thought.
great, then let's do it now, and then when it's all purchased, it's all done and already going one way. So I wouldn't want it that if the school wasn't planning on doing that. So.
Okay.
Other discussion?
I have one other thing, sorry.
Anyone else have anything else? Okay, go ahead.
The front side, I know I'd said something to you about this, Mike, but with the dead end of 14th Street, when you're trying to funnel kids over to the roundabout to cross in the future, was that discussed at all with the school district about maybe making that dead end 14th Street more of a walking path to get kids up to 6th Avenue? Since it's right next to their parking lot and crossing right there.
No, that wasn't the particular concern. That's where we came up with the short-term and the long-term solutions. But
I guess I'll throw that back out there for the long term. That could be a nice path since it's a dead end. It's not. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go to any houses anymore. Just that parking lot. So it's kind of just for the school.
it feeds the alley too, but yeah.
Oh, that alley there. That's right. Okay, that's all.
Other discussion, questions? Okay, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion to receive, file, and concur with the Traffic Advisory Committee report regarding requests from the Marion Independent School District, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. Adela?
Your Honor, I move to approve ordinance number 20-03, amending section 176.41 of the Marion Code of Ordinances related to notification signs for zoning amendments. This is the second consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 20-03, amending section 176.41 of the Marion Code of Ordinances relating to notification signs for zoning amendments. Second consideration. Discussion? All those in favor of ordinance number 20-03, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 28329, approving relocation assistance payment in the amount of $1,210 to Stonegate Custom Homes Incorporated, located at 597 21st Street, associated with the Central Corridor Project.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28329, approving relocation assistance payment in the amount of $1,210 to Stonegate Custom Homes, Inc., in connection with the Central Corridor Project and the property at 597 21st Street. Discussion? Did you have anything to?
I just wanted to let the council know that this was added between Tuesday and Thursday, so we didn't discuss this.
Yeah.
But on these reimbursements, I like to try and get those because the owners are upfronting those dollars. This is related to tenants in a home or in a building that we had bought, commercial building, just to provide the relocation assistance to them. So we pay for the moving expenses associated with that. So that's why we got it quick to the agenda, so.
Okay, other discussion? Yes, Ms. Cadilla?
I just have a question about that process. How do we, do we have a cap that we would pay up to for, what's our policy on the relocation assistance?
There are caps. I don't know what they are right off the top of my head, but yeah,
there's something.
Yeah, and we have we work with Universal Field Services, the payments you see that go to them. So they have field reps that actually work with them to ensure that everything that gets done is identified, and we get receipts, and they actually go through the estimates with them too. So they get bids, and so it's a good process. Yep.
Okay.
It's a good process.
Thank you.
Other questions? So, is that type of item budgeted?
Say that again.
Is that type of an item budgeted? I mean, because it...
Yep.
Okay.
So it's within the Central Corridor project, and if you'll recall when we were talking about the acquisitions, we had a spreadsheet, and we had identified within their relocation and reestablishment estimates. So, yep, it's a budget item.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 28329, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. We have a discussion on the agenda now regarding fire station project status update. Chief Crable.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. We've been hearing a lot about projects over the last couple months, the library, public service, and I didn't want you to forget we are still building a fire station.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought I'd better give you an update. Actually, the construction company that won the bid, Christner Construction, they put together some pictures for us, and so just wanted to show you where we're at. It was a wet fall, a bad winter, so there were a lot of holdups, but now we're moving right along, and I just wanted you to see that. So this is the CCI management team. They are doing frequent inspections. The project design team, which you all know, OPN, Hall & Hall, and LLP. They are very proud of their safety hours, CCI. So they wanted to put that in there, that they've gotten up to 648 hours of safety, so, which is good. That's good. What's been happening? Actually, if you remember, we had our groundbreaking on September 11th, but they weren't able to start until November because of the rains and the wet ground and everything else. So they actually didn't get started till November. The building pad was completed, the exterior footings are pretty much done, and the interior footings are completed. What's been happening, if you've driven by there, there's a great big elevator shaft now, so it's going vertical, which is good to see. They're also putting up some of the exterior walls for the apparatus floor, so it's getting there. It's really exciting for us. Here's a few photos of some of the work that had to be completed. The pad and the building, it just shows some of the work that they had to do when it was not going vertical. The trench digging that had to be completed. And you notice on the right picture there that when they did put concrete down, it was always covered, always uncovered to protect the concrete. So that was a good thing. The exterior footings, when they put those in, notice the snow on the ground and the frozen tundra there. So it was a difficult project to try to get done. The footing walls have been put up. They're looking pretty good. The masonry, as we already said, is started. They're actually starting if you look at the next picture, I do believe the masonry continues. Yep, right there it is. Where the secure room is for our emergency operations center, that needs to be, fortified for an F5 tornado. So they're starting on that now. Well, what's coming next? The storm shelter, the exterior footings, the east apparatus bay walls and the west apparatus bay wall. So we're really excited. We want to give you a quick update. If you haven't driven by there, Mayor, I know you go by every day, but
I can see it out my window.
so what's coming up next? We are meeting every 2 weeks with all the contractors, the subcontractors, and it's going very well, very well. Everybody's working well together. They're trying to coordinate with everything they're doing, and I am really impressed with what they've been doing so far. So again, they are hoping to be completed by, we're going to do our first walkthrough would be November, and then hopefully we'll be moving in after the first of the year. So that's where we're at. Nice building. And in case you were interested, these are the subcontractors that they have been working with. So do I have any questions about the project?
For a long time, it seemed like nothing was happening as they were dealing with the water issues, but it seems like recently it's really moving. And
Yes, it is.
It's exciting. So good, we'll have a
It is
Christmas
exciting.
present for the end of the year.
And just so you know, we actually, the meeting yesterday, we ended up saving a little more money on the wood that we chose.
We like that.
On the front, we just chose a different type and saved some money. So there you go.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Any questions for Chief?
Keep it up.
Okay, thanks for the update. It's good to get that. All right, at this time we have a public forum, which is time set aside for any comments from the public on any item that was not on the agenda for this evening. This can be anything that anyone would like to address the council on. Please come forward at this time. Welcome.
Frank Sherman, 4170 Canton Court here in Marion. As you know, Mayor and Council, I think the employees you have here are just super. They're great employees. I was talking to Amber a little while ago. She just left, but she was on the radio a couple mornings ago, interview on 600 AM about the veterans banners, and she did a great job. And Chief Kitchmiller came to Lions Club the other day and gave a little presentation. It was super and add a little humor to it, and he's got a great background. So everybody from the staff, the capable city manager, great department heads, good admin staff. But one of the things that sometimes get forgotten is the administration. And I think you've got some great administrators here. And in particular, I've always had a great respect for the city clerks. They've kept me out of trouble. I was a handful. So I think Rachel does a great job. So I dusted something off, if you don't mind. I'd like to read it. It's called the Ode to the City Clerk.
I hope this is a roast.
In the community, there was a sharp city clerk who enormously enjoyed all her work. She came in early each morning to tasks never boring. Routine, she said, would drive her berserk. Her productivity was extremely prolific, and the council thought this was terrific. The agendas were great, and the minutes first rate. All documents were complete and specific. Issuing licenses and recording elections, her work never needed correction. She recorded the votes, took copious notes, and passed every compliance inspection. When a resident ventured in to complain, she would take her time to explain. But whatever the issue, she pulled out a tissue, expressing her grief and her pain. With a concern for public records requests, she provided for all and did without rest. With reporters who queried, she never got harried. Nothing was held close to the vest. She has a great city seal in her custody, not something to take at all casually. A responsibility so great, it carries much weight, a duty she takes with much gravity. The quest for compliance is her holy grail. She pursues this idea without fanfare or fail. To stand up for the law, not to hammer to haw, she strives to keep all out of jail. So, to Rachel, an ode to the city clerk. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sherman.
She loves the attention, doesn't she?
Thank you very much. Anyone else to address the council?
I would just comment, Mayor, that I have a feeling one for the police chief might be quite different.
Well, we are very proud of our staff. I think we have a very capable and professional staff, and we're very appreciative of everything they do to reach higher every day and to make our city stand out and to provide these excellent services to the residents. And to, we have been putting Marion on the map in the last few years, and it's in no small part to everybody's efforts. On that, I just wanted to again remind the council for the manner in which we handle the meetings. Again, as you know, we're trying to raise the level of professionalism and taking how we appear and how we take care of the public's business. And so, again, I just remind everybody that discussions should be coming through the chair. There shouldn't be direct discussion between people. It's for the purpose of keeping order. It's for the purpose of making sure everyone has a fair chance to speak, and that everyone is heard, and no one is monopolizing the discussion, and for the appearance of professionalism. So discussion should be after being recognized, and it should go through whoever is chairing the meeting. So appreciate everybody's cooperation on that. We'll proceed to council comments. Start with Mr. Cernad.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have is, I think I might have heard this, but I just want clarification if anyone else did. But on the railroad-themed Seymour Trail, I think I might have heard a gravelly eye come from the heavens. That's an incredible piece of work. So good job to everybody that was a part of that. So I'm sure Councilmember Draper would be very excited with that railroad theme to that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have three things. The first is just to let everybody know I will not be present at the Tuesday meeting on the 17th. I'll be out of town, but I will listen to the minutes or the recording prior to Thursday's meeting, which I will be here for spring break. So second thing is kudos to Finance for posting slides today as part of your presentation. Engineering always does a great job. I think it's wonderful, especially when we have people to the meetings who have never been here, who don't come often. You know, the agenda is certainly something to follow, but I think if you get lost in the agenda or you step out, it just helps you find your place. So thank you, Leanne. And then the third thing, and I apologize, I just thought this was going to be on the agenda because it was on Tuesday when we discussed the council appointment position. I had mentioned that I didn't know about the email that Rachel said she sent, and then I dug through and found it from March 4th. But I thought we were going to talk about questions that we might want to scrap or what have you. So at any rate, I mentioned that I have two that I will provide prior to that meeting. And I reached out to the League of Cities today to ask about the process for having people step out into the lobby. And so it appears that it is a public meeting and anybody is welcome to be in here, but if we want to ask the entire group to step out and they agree to step out, that there's no problem with that, and we can have them come in one at a time. I am completely for that because I think that there are some questions that I think we can get a good sense of how much people might know, and then they're not piggybacking off of other people's answers. So I personally would advocate for that. I don't know how anyone else feels. I don't know if this is the time to discuss it, but it wasn't on the agenda for me to bring up earlier, and I am not here Tuesday. So I would like to I don't know, can we talk about it now, or am I just going to put it out there and then we have a discussion on the day of?
So I mean, I think, thank you for checking on that. I
Yes.
think that we have to follow what we have to rely on our legal counsel's advice and opinion. So, I mean, would it be okay to ask them to follow up further and confirm that?
You want to do that?
Um,
Totally fine, I feel confident.
Because I don't know
what
that,
heard.
I mean, I personally wouldn't have an issue with doing it that way. As long as our legal counsel, who we rely on, says it's okay. And I think we got a little bit different answer on Tuesday, but if we want to follow up on that and confirm it, would that?
Your Honor, we have followed up on that. It is absolutely legal's opinion not to do that. It would sound too much like you are trying to coerce people to step out and not necessarily their own voluntary act. I realize that that might be the League of Cities' opinion on that, but I would just caution the council, League of Cities is not your attorney. By we, I mean Kara and I have represented cities in recent times that have violated open meetings laws and in doing so did so following the advice of the League of Cities, and the court found that relying on the opinion of the League of Cities did not exempt those council members from open meetings violation sanctions. If you rely on legal counsel's opinion in doing so, we have insurance that covers that if we're wrong. But if you rely and specifically go against the advice of legal counsel in doing something and you're found to have violated that, you're not exempt from those sanctions. So it is the opinion of legal counsel that you do not encourage that in any way.
Just want to follow up.
Yes,
on
go
that.
ahead.
So it isn't illegal if we clearly state to them that they're more than welcome to stay here, but we are requesting that they stand out in the hall until they're called in, but that if they choose to stay, they're welcome to stay. Are you saying that's illegal, or you're just not advising it?
I'm not saying illegal. I'm saying it is our
Advising.
opinion that you not
Okay.
do that because it's still conveying the message that it would be your preference that they step out for
It would
that.
be.
I know, and
Yes.
that's what I'm saying.
That's what you're
That-
telling
that-
me.
That's the
Exactly.
whole point.
I can't be any clearer than that.
And
so.
exactly, and that is the point, is that it is coming from the governmental entity, that it is their preference that these people excuse themselves from an open meeting for some reason other than being disruptive or making a threat or something like that.
Well, I
There are
think-
valid reasons to exclude people
Sure,
from
and
a
I think
meeting.
stating the reasons of, just for exactly the reasons that I said, that, we could hear from the single candidate and no one else would hear that, what their response is. I mean, I think I totally know where you're coming from, and you're being very conservative, and I appreciate that. That's your job, but it's not illegal for us to ask. And I think if we're clear, and again, that's just how I feel, so I guess I'd be curious how anybody else feels about it, because I'm for doing that. So, I don't know, it wasn't an item on the agenda, so I don't know how we...
Anything we can discuss here right now?
Is it something we can discuss?
In what manner?
She's asking for a discussion.
I'm asking how everybody else
I mean, it's
feels.
not on the agenda, so, and I realized the thought that it was going to be on the agenda, so and once we actually have council deliberation, we're deliberating out about an item that's not on the
Got it.
agenda.
Okay, so I guess since it's just with me, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might ask people to do it Thursday, and I guess we'll see where things fall. Okay, that's all I have.
Can we put it on the, hold on.
I won't, well, yeah, I don't know.
For my discussion time, I'll discuss my thoughts on candidates for the position. If they were to leave the room, I think that would be a great idea. I understand where legal's coming from, where it could be perceived differently, but I would be in favor of asking them to leave on their own accord. And if they choose not to, that's totally fine. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Mayor, sorry,
Yes, sir.
Councilman Brandt, but I may make a suggestion. Councilwoman Gadela has indicated that she will not be here for the 17th, but has also made very plain how she feels on that issue. The interviews are not until the 19th, so the council could deliberate this on the Tuesday work session and then ultimately have that discussion about your rules of procedure and know what you were going to do heading into the 19th.
That's what I was going to suggest, so that's great.
Perfect.
So with that, I'll also thank the staff from Marion Independent for coming out tonight to represent the Safe Routes for Schools program. I think it's a great program, and I'm happy that you're trying to make it safer for the kids to get to school. So thank you. That's all.
Yeah, since we're talking about projects, the one across the street from the fire station is the YMCA. So a little bit of update on that. Again, same issue with the wet, soft ground out there. I think the fire station had to put in about 158 geopiers. The YMCA had to put in over 300 geopiers because of the soil conditions out there. But anyway, just to let you know, things are moving along similar. A lot of what you put up there is very similar here. The footings are just about done. The parking lot will actually, in about 2 more weeks, you'll be able to see the parking lot. That'll all be, the ground will be prepared. Several inches of rock will be put on there, so you'll see that. But the key thing I wanted to let everybody know is in about 2 more weeks, you're going to start seeing trucks bringing the precast walls out there, and so you're going to start seeing it going vertical in about 2 weeks. And it'll be going up vertical pretty quick with those precast walls. And then the other thing is those trucks are going to be coming for a solid 3 weeks because each truck can only handle 2 of the slabs of precast walls. So I just wanted to let everybody know, and especially those that live out there, that there's going to be quite a bit of large truck traffic delivering those. I don't know how many there are. It's a bigger building, so 3 weeks worth. That's all I know. I don't know how many.
On the topic of the YMCA, it's still not too late to submit ideas for the naming. Just some of the things that have occurred since the last meeting. We had the policy on the rocks, which is something that's hosted by the Economic Alliance, was held in Marion, I think for the first time in my memory, which is a gathering of all of the legislators that represent our area, and people are able to interact with them and share their thoughts and ideas on different things. So that was held at Goldfinch, and it was a very successful event. We had the grand reopening for ribbon cutting for Villa's Patio, which was an exciting day. I attended the Cedar Rapids State of the City luncheon, and we had the Uptown Volunteer Appreciation Night. Yesterday I visited Horizons to visit their Meals on Wheels program. I know they serve a lot of people in Marion, and it was good to tour that facility and see how they work, and got a briefing on how they get their funding and really the important service that they serve in our community. Tomorrow I'll be welcoming the Leadership for 5 Seasons class at the police station with the chief, and we'll be meeting with them there. This is their government day tomorrow, and in the past few years they've held that at our police station. They get a tour of the station, and one segment of it, there are different political leaders that are there to answer their questions and interact with them. So thank you, everybody, for being here, and if there's nothing else, we will adjourn the meeting.